Well, the Browns winners on Thursday Night Football, 29-17 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are now 2-1 and momentarily at least are in first place in the AFC North. Mary Kay, today was really about bouncing back after that devastating loss to the New York Jets.
You know, it really was. That was the theme of the big 4 days that they had, was just getting that horrible Jets loss out of their minds, out of their mouths, out of their hair, out of everything, and rewarding these fans at home with a victory over the Steelers, which, of course, makes life good for everyone.
And Ashley, it was really, the defense today struggled in the first half. You started to wonder, okay, here we go again. But they really turned it on in that second half.
Yeah, and they didn't really let Pittsburgh convert on a ton of third downs or anything, so that was certainly good. And, of course, it's kind of fitting that the game-ending play was a defensive play. And we had this discussion on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast, which team was more likely to score a defensive touchdown. I'm going to do a little bragging and I said I thought it might be Denzel Ward, and it was when he recovered that ball in the end zone.
I don't know if we can count that, but Mary Kay, the defense was good today.
You know, it was really good. They had a players-only defensive meeting on Tuesday, and I thought it was necessary. They were starting to point some fingers at each other, and they really needed to work on their communication and do a gut check, and they did it. And they came out, and I believe there were 3 straight 3-and-outs, right? I know you wrote some about the defense already, but they held them to 3 points in the second half. They would not be denied. It was a great performance, a gutsy performance, especially considering they were without Jadeveon Clowney. They lost Anthony Walker in the third quarter. They were without JOK for much of the second half because he had a groin injury. So they had to overcome a lot of adversity, lost Ronnie Harrison in pregame warm-ups of all things. And so it was tough sledding, but they pulled it together and did it.
Ashley, the Jacoby Brissett-Amari Cooper thing is real. These two seem to have a real connection, and it's good because there's not a lot else happening in that wide receiver core, but those two, again, had another solid game.
And we were talking about before we started recording, this offense has kind of been quietly good over these last 2 weeks especially, and those two I think have an undeniable connection that we started to see in training camp, especially in those joint practices with the Eagles towards the end of training camp, and it seems like anytime he needs a big play, he's looking Amari Cooper's way.
And, Mary Kay, Jacoby was wearing that Joel Bitonio Wyatt Teller shirt today, so he understands the value of his offensive line. But with Jacoby, it's really just about not making the big mistake.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. That's a big part of it. But he's also getting more and more confident. You can see that he really likes what they're giving him to do, that he's getting very comfortable in the offense. And I asked him about that keeper, and it was kind of a funny answer. I asked him about just the emotion that he showed after that 6-yard keeper down there near the end zone. And he just said he's always wanted to do that. He never had a chance. He pumped his fist, and, he's just showing a lot of emotion. We really didn't think of him like that, but he has been just what they needed at that quarterback position.
And the run game, again, just dominant today. They really kind of took control of this game with an 11-play drive, ran the ball 10 times. Michael Dunn was on the field every single one of those plays. Yelde Froholt playing a little fullback, got Nick Chubb into the end zone. But again, it just speaks to how good this run game is, Mary Kay.
And you pronounced it right, so, that's impressive too. But, you just can't say enough about this amazing run game. And I think that, it's going to help carry them while they're without Deshaun Watson. But, it's just funny that, we we thought that the quarterback position was going to be the problem while Deshaun was out, and they're playing complementary ball. The passing game is going hand in hand with the running game.
And Ashley, that drive, just your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I just think overall this run game is just so, I think, working at the pace that it needs to keep this offense going. And I think it just was the perfect example of how this offense can look when it's doing, like Mary Kay said, everything it should be doing when they're playing complementary football. And, of course, that's so important when you don't have your quarterback like the Browns don't have Deshaun Watson for these first 11 games.
It hasn't been pretty, but the Browns are 2-1. They're a minute 55 from 3-0, in fact. We'll cover everything that happened here at FirstEnergy Stadium on Thursday Night Football at cleveland.com/Browns.